push this to you. The legendary Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest racing circuit, and today it's Formula Regional Americas live from Indy on SpeedTour 1. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen. Welcome to the Circle City along with Vaughn Beasley. We had not necessarily sunshine, Vaughn, but we had dry weather until literally 5 minutes ago. And then the skies opened. Race director Scott Goodyear has called it a wet race now. So for those that are new to the series, explain what that means to the drivers and the teams.
Yep, so this morning when I was in the drivers meeting, Scott Goodyear outlined what a wet race meant. So a wet race meant that you're only allowed to run the rain tire. So that doesn't mean you get any discretion for what tire you're going to choose. So you only can run the rain tire. So it'll be really interesting today to see how that runs at IMS, especially because of the nature of the track. So it'll be really, really exciting to see how these drivers tackle those rainy conditions out on the track.
Which is a real shame for some of the others like Alex Benavitz. I was talking to Alex earlier this morning. He and his team had worked hard to save a set of stickers just for dry conditions here today, and they thought they were going to have an advantage, and instead they're switching to wets, and I guess, as you pointed out, maybe an extra set of testing tires later.
Yep, exactly. It'll be really tricky to see how these drivers approach it. I mean, all the strategy I had now for all the dry running basically just went out the window. I mean, this rain's not going to be letting up anytime soon.
Well, let's go down to the grid area and check in with the third member of our broadcast crew. Here's Ben Sissel. Ben, you a little soggy or still dry?
Formula Regional America's Championship drivers this season. They come down here. We had a great fan walk. This whole pit lane was full of people. Then about 3 minutes ago, it started raining. I heard Scott Goodyear come over the radio and give the, basically tell everybody that it's a wet weather race. So we're going to walk through here. We've got 14 cars here competing in this. These cars competed here last year. We've got drivers here from Canada. We've got Perth, Australia, Rio de Janeiro, Santiago, Chile, all over North America, Canada. But you can see right here, they're all just working to put on their wet weather tires. And, you know, this is actually, you see Gil here, the owner of Crosslink, the owner of the team, is out here putting on the tires because a lot of these teams, they have too many cars and they're a little bit short-staffed. So this is always really crazy and hectic when this happens, and then it's totally uncomfortable. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm in Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As a Midwest kid, it's pouring down here, but another side of the track I'm hearing is dry, so anything could be happening out there. But to deliver our invocation is Tim Spillman. And Tim, so happy to have you here. We have known you for a while, the chaplain here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Please deliver the invocation for us.
Gladly. Can we all pray? Father God, once again we pause and we thank you for all your blessings and all of your love that you give to each and every one of us. We thank you for Roger Penske and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and every venue they may put on, may it be a great success. Thank you for SVRA, and as they travel across this country, may each and every one be safe. And now, Father, we thank you for all of your blessings. We ask now that you would bless our military around this world and on our shores that keep this freedom for us so we can be in freedom. And Father, we ask you to bring them all home safe very soon. We thank you for all the sponsors that come along to help make all this possible. And now, Father, we ask you'd bless and keep safe all of our drivers, our crews, and all of these fans. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Tim, thank you so much. Let's get a shot here. The beautiful Pike High School Navy Junior ROTC to deliver our colors and our color guard for this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And then we'll move Jenny Spillman as they march up. Jenny. And Jenny Spillman has done this with us in years past. Absolutely beautiful voice. So, Jenny, if you'll take it away for us.
I will, thank you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, well, thank you, Jenny. That was very well done. And we are getting a little bit closer to the start of this race. Now, Vaughn, not only are they changing tires, but you could see through the camera that Ben had down there, a few other small adjustments are being made to the car. What type of things will the crews work on?
Yep, so when approaching a rain race, basically everything in the car will be different. Of course, the tire is the main thing, but also huge things these drivers and teams will change are the sway bars. And that's basically what changes the rigidity almost of the chassis and how that weight will be transferred throughout the car. So one of the main things with the rain racing is just going to be learning the track as you go along. I won't be surprised if these guys do 2 formation laps to understand where these puddles will be on race and how the water will be on the racetrack. For example, in turn 1, there should be a big puddle around the apex of turn 1. So there'll also be a couple big rivers on track where these drivers will have to learn how to navigate.
And as we saw earlier in the weekend, because this is not the first day that we've had rain here, there were some pretty big puddles coming out onto the front straightaway here that the Scott Goodyear race director pointed out, was sending out pictures to everybody so everybody knows exactly where it is. And you can see they're out there in the safety vehicle right now, taking a look at the track, going all the way around. Of course, this is the same circuit that is utilized for the Indianapolis Grand Prix. It's the old Formula One layout that has been modified a little bit over the years. There's Titus Sherlock sitting in his car trying to stay dry. And we're hopeful of a start here very soon as you're watching Formula Regional Americas live from Indianapolis on SpeedTour 1.
up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
The wet weather tires are being mounted up. Everybody runs on the hand-cooked tires, of course. How do you like the hand-cooked rain tire?
Well, I'd say it's a very developed rain tire. I mean, the amount of water these tires can disperse are very, very impressive compared to another tire brand. And I think these tires will be lasting throughout the whole race. These drivers should not have to manage this tire at all throughout the race. So it'll be interesting seeing a very, very aggressive strategy going into this race.
With the wet weather conditions, obviously the two key spots on this racetrack is the final turn coming out onto the long front straightaway and then getting out onto the Holman straightaway. You're going to have to get those just right to carry as much speed as you can. Do you expect those corners to be a little slipperier than normal, or does the road course here tend to be okay in wet weather conditions?
So what's really interesting about IMS in particular is the groove track. For example, going out of turn 14, there's actually grooves on the banking there. So it'll be really interesting to see how the water interacts with those grooves. Also, the banking off of turn 14 will also yield sometimes the river I was talking about earlier. So seeing how these drivers will navigate that will 100% instruct their strategy throughout this race. So IMS is a very, I'd almost say, European-esque track. It's a very, very flat surface, unlike NOLA early in the season, where it's super, super bumpy. So it will be really interesting to see where this is kind of a more traditional track in approaching for a rain race. You know, if you want to run a rain line, that'll be a lot easier to do here because there's no bumps to avoid. So it'll be really interesting to see how these drivers on the fly really adapt to these conditions and follow their strategy.
Especially in those opening 2 to 3 laps when things are pretty chaotic. All right, let's go down back track side. Check in once again with Ben.
Down here in pit lane, all the teams worked really hard and really fast, I might say, to putting on the wet tires. You can see here with James Lawley, he's got the wet weather hand-cooked tires right on the yard of bricks. So what an iconic shot that is. How cool is it to be here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Somebody that's been with us all season, but this is his first time behind the wheel in this Save 22 car, Hayden Bowlesby, all the way from New Orleans. Hayden, it's crazy conditions. You've been with us all year, but not behind the wheel, so it's been a little bit. How you feeling about your wet weather skills?
I'm feeling pretty good, so we'll have to see how it's gonna go with this race. We got a lot of rookies in the grid, and I think experience is gonna come big in this race. So let's see how it goes.
Nice. I love it. I love it. We'll look for Hayden Bowlesby in the number 3, the IGY6, Barrett, Wolfe, and the Make-A-Wish. Now, something that I was seeing a lot of the teams do, because the race hadn't started, the rules are they could put on the wets, but they could also, I saw them changing the wing angles a little bit, maybe trying to get a little bit more downforce in the rear of the cars and the front of the cars. They can make sway bar adjustments, and those are things they couldn't do had they come into the pits under red flag conditions. So it's given the teams just a little bit of time to really adjust. You can see here, see they're putting the wing down a little bit, and what that's going to do is that's going to give a little bit more downforce here at the rear. Because of the conditions, because of everything that's happening right there, the teams and the drivers are a little bit more concerned about grip than they are top speed. Bejoy Garg here, on this day last year, he won his class at Le Mans. So I am pretty sure Bejoy has had his share of rain races. So look for him to move up to the front with Tony Driver Development. All the way from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, is Bruno Ribeiro. Beautiful car up here with Kiwi Motorsport, and you can see they were making some adjustments on the car. They've got the wet weather hand cooks on there, and then over here with Crosslink, you can see they're still working, making some adjustments on our championship leader. So he's going down, but you can see here, if we can get a shot of this, look at this river that is coming through pit lane. That is, here, I'll put my foot in there for some perspective. See that? That's deep, ladies and gentlemen. So we're seeing here that the water is starting to pool. Now, it isn't raining as hard as it was just a little bit ago, but you can see here, and I'm hearing in my other ear that Scott Goodyear saying there is standing water on different parts of the track. Now, Jet Bowling, his team, they look pretty secure. You can see here that he's dry under the umbrella. They've started the camera. Everybody's still making kind of their last-minute adjustments. You can see here a pole winner, Brady Golan. They're still making some wing adjustments, which they are allowed to. And there's a lot happening down here. Ralph and Vaughn, I'm going to send it up to you in the booth until we hear more.
We got to get Ben off the grid before he starts jumping in those puddles like a kid, because I think that's next. Listening to Bijoy Garg there, a year ago he's racing at Le Mans. Today he's racing at Indianapolis. That's a pretty strong year.
Oh, yeah. It's been really interesting watching his progress. So this weekend he's filling in for, I believe, Lincoln Day. So it's really, really cool seeing him back in the series and giving these guys a run for their money.
I don't know what he does next year. I mean, that's pretty much the two biggest tracks in the world right there.
Well, at this point, anything's the limit.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, the rain continues to fall. As Ben pointed out, it has lightened up a little bit, but it's only been raining for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. And as they say, we have definitely lost the track.
Oh, yeah. It's for sure gone. One of the things I thought was interesting was Barrett on grid. He mentioned the experience part, and I 100% agree that experience is going to be deciding who wins this race today. I think it's amazing that Brady Golan, with a hometown effort, won the pole this weekend. But then again, all of his strategy, all of his pace and qualifying is technically out the window with this rain race. It'll be really interesting to see how he adapts from the pole and if he can keep the lead going into turn one.
And he did that on the last lap of qualifying. He had lost it and then pushed one final time and made an epic effort to get that pole and did so. There's Jet Bowling in his Kiwi Motorsport entry. Kiwi has like 7 cars, I believe, they're running here today.
Yeah, all that data they've amassed throughout the weekend, and also last year, too, when they ran here at IMS, all that data pretty much is useless in the rain. I mean, it just comes down to the driver's instincts and making a game-time decision. I think part of the thing, too, is you can keep it up front. It also avoids the spray. The spray is going to be a huge factor for this race for the drivers, A, for visibility, but also B, to even know where they're all on track to make good decisions. So it'll be really interesting to see that standing start, who is able to get the jump and who's able to get out on the track first.
Speaking of that standing start, will you have to do anything different as a driver to get the drive off the line?
So it's tricky. So as I said before, there's the grooves at IMS on the front straight. So normally with this track, there's a lot more grip to it. And those grooves are main thing that adds those grips. So if it was a dry race, there would be a big risk of either stalling or bogging the car off the line. But now with the rain, it changes everything. So now you're going to have to modulate the throttle a lot more in order to limit that wheel spin, because it'll just be a lot worse in the rain compared to the dry.
One driver who's going to be hoping to nail that perfectly here today is Jet Bowling, who will be starting second, the driver out of Dallas, Texas, in the Bullhorn-backed entry, car number 22. We had a chance to sit down with him earlier in the weekend.
All right, I'm down here with Kiwi Motorsport, and Jet Bowling has joined us here. And I'm talking to Jet because we're here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That is just like so cool in itself, but you had a great weekend here last year. What are your expectations here when the lights go out?
Yeah, huge expectations. Yeah, it's my best weekend. It was my first podium in FIA series, so high expectations. We're looking for a win.
Looking for a win. Now, we've got 3 races here this weekend with the Formula Regional America's U.S. Championship here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But with the points as they are, about a quarter to 30% through the season, to be honest, you're a little bit lower than I was expecting. So you've basically got to be on the podium every race here.
Yeah, we've had some pretty bad luck with mechanical stuff. You know, I was on pole in Road America, and then the car failed, so I had a red flag, so I moved to second. We got the pre-grid and the fuel dumped on me, so started from pit lane. So that was a big points loss, but yeah, we pretty much need perfection here on out.
Nice. Now, Helmick Farms, Bullhorn, they're on the side of your car. Tell us what these sponsors mean to you here.
Yeah, so, some of them are family friends. Most of them are actually, and so I think that's a great, representation of the team and, what I'm behind. I love having family friends on the car. It shows all these people that are watching races. They're texting me before and after races. It's really nice to see that.
Now, you've got 48 points right now. Your old teammate and friend Titus Sherlock is at the sharp end of the points. You've got to get there. I know that you guys have a long history together and a good friendship. But, this is racing. You're competitive, so you're friends off of the track. But that's a lot of pressure on you. Do you feel the weight on your shoulders right now?
Yeah, there's definitely some added pressure, with how the season's gone. But there's not a doubt in my mind I'm the fastest guy. We have the fastest car, so there's not a doubt we can't do it. We just need a bit of lady luck to be with us.
Nice. Well, let's look for Jet Bowling in the number 22 with Formula Regional Americas hopefully on the top step or one of the steps of the podium this weekend here at IMS.
Certainly a very quick driver starting second here today. And Vaughn, let's talk a little bit about this Formula Regional Americas car itself. It's a Ligier JS F3 chassis. Of course, everybody runs the hand-cooked tires. Honda Civic Type R 2.0 liter turbo engine. Everything is serviced and engineered by the folks over at Mountoon. Produces about 306 horsepower and weighs 1,485 pounds without the driver. There are, of course, a lot of young drivers in the series, but you have to be at least 16 years of age or older to compete in Formula Regional Americas. What do you like about this car?
Oh, man, where do I even start? First off, this car, the amount of power this car makes for the amount of weight is amazing. I mean, you on standing starts, you can spin the tires, even chirp the tires up to third gear. So the amount of power these cars have is astonishing. But alongside that too, which is amazing while we're at IMS, the amount of straight line speed these things can have. Normally when it's a dry track, the cars would be trimmed out for the aerodynamics, and that means you take off a lot of wing angle for both the front and the rear wing. So these cars get up to very, very high top speeds. But also with that, all the draft. So the draft in a dry race is very, very important, regardless of the track, but also especially at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So all that, again, is kind of go out the window with this rain race. I mean, we just saw a picture on the screen of a Sharpie in the river in pit lane. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these cars and these drivers adapt to this rain race. I mean, these cars are an amazing package. It'll be really interesting to see how these drivers take to this track.
So if you're wondering what these drivers are battling for, not just the glory of winning here at the racing capital of the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but the championship, there's a $100,000 year-end cash prize, but there's also a, let's see what's the best way to put this. My brain just shut off. Vaughn, help me here a little bit. You're winning the award of the driver getting to move up.
Yep. So, for example, there's so much for winning this thing. Also, the amount of people that watch this series for looking for younger drivers who are. I mean, this is all a development series. The amount of skill we get coming in here. I mean, we have Guard, for example, who said from Le Mans last year to running these cars this year. It just shows the skill and the talent we have in this field. But one of the things I think is really interesting is just the opportunities that you'll get after this race. So, for example, the last year's points winner, Patrick Woods-Toth, for example, is this weekend out in, I believe it's Canada, with the F1 race out there. So he's a guest of honor out there from winning this series last year. So the amount of eyes on this series and the amount of opportunities you get from putting your name out by winning in this series and competing in this series is unlike any other series I've seen recently.
It is an FIA-sanctioned series, and that's the key for those eyeballs coming.
Yep, the amount of also FIA points are a huge bonus point for the series. There's been talks, for example, with Colton Herta even going to F1. One of the things he doesn't have is FIA points, because with IndyCar, as well as FIA rated, you don't get as many points as you would with a direct FIA series like a Formula Regionals or F4, for example.
Well, they continue to work on the track here, and we're going to continue to head down track side to Ben Sissel.
Well, you can see here the Crosslink team is changing kind of the setup here with Barrett. They were putting some shims, just like these, in the setup just to kind of give them a little bit better, I guess, a rain setup here. I'm not smart enough to know what they were doing. So what were they doing here, Crosslink guy?
Adjusting camber to stand the rear tires up for the water.
Nice. So you hear that? Adjusting camber to stand the rear tires up for the water. Now I kind of sound like an expert. But you can see the water's kind of pooling down here a little bit deeper on the driver's left side of pit lane than driver's right. But you can see right here that all the teams are taking full advantage of this. All the tools are out on the wings to make all the adjustments that they can, trying to look around and see exactly what's going to happen. But I'm hearing that there's parts of the track that are dry and parts of the track that are a river. So that's just summertime in the Midwest. And it's getting a little bit crazy down here. Ralph Vaughn, I'm going to send it back up to you in the booth.
Boy, it is significantly different, the amount of water that's on the right side of the pit lane as opposed to the pit wall closest to the track. You see Alex Benavitz's car sitting there. The HendrickCars.com back number 5. One of the challenges, you got to get the wet tires on it, but the drivers have to keep those shoes as dry as they possibly can getting in and out of the car.
No, 100%. One of the huge things for being successful in a Formula car or even any race car is honestly comfort. The more mind capacity and brain capacity you can do to focus on what's actually at hand is huge. So if you're focusing on having a wet shoe or wet race suit or something like that, where in the grand scheme of things it may not seem like that big of a deal, then again, it takes so much away from your mental capacity at the time. You know, especially in the rain here, trying to learn the track from every corner to corner, you need all that brain capacity and the focus in order to win these races.
So we talked a little bit about what the Formula Regional Americas Championship car is, but let's go a little bit deeper with the head man from Ligier here in North America, Mo Murray.
So let's meet the Ligier JSF 318, Ligier's Formula Regional Americas car. This car is powered by a Honda turbocharged engine. It's essentially the same engine as the JFC car, but this one has a turbocharger, makes about 303 horsepower. It's prepared by Mountoon, great partners in the series, but originally was a Honda engine. Sedev gearbox, 6-speed sequential gearbox, paddle shifters, of course, for all of these. Plenty of aero help on this. Great view of the top side of the diffuser on the back of this. Carbon wings front and rear on this car. This car has a full carbon tub, which most race cars have these days. This carbon tub is made at HP Composites in Italy, a Ligier company. And of course, this car includes a halo, FIA safety device mandated for all cars built from 2018 and forward. This is a 318, and this is the top level of the open wheel series at Pirelli Motorsports. It's known as Formula Regional Americas, and these cars are compatible with and competitive with other Formula Regional series around the world, where lots of young drivers are going to earn their way up to F3, F2, and ultimately Formula One.
All right, thank you, Mo. Let's talk a little bit about that halo, Vaughn. We've gotten very used to seeing them on open wheel machines these days, but for younger drivers and parents of younger drivers, seeing that on the car is a huge selling point.
Oh, 100%. That's been one of the things to my own family for racing. My mom's been a huge advocate of course safety, and like any mom would be. But the halo, for example, is a huge, huge safety factor. I mean, I can't even imagine, honestly, how we ran cars without halos even 10, 15 years ago. I think it makes the cars look a lot cooler in my eyes. But then again, the amount of safety it brings to these cars isn't like anything else.
Well, and it's not as simple as just bolting a halo on the car. The fact that here in this series, it's a part of the design of the car, part of the structure of the car, is significantly different and much better.
No, 100%, yeah. This is one of the unique things about having a carbon tub too, is they're designed pretty much also around the halo. Technically you can run the cars with a halo, but then again, it won't be a sanctioned FIA race by any means. So having these halos in the cars is paramount.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take care of a little business while we can so we can show you all the racing live when they go. So stay with us. We're coming back here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, keeping our eyes on the skies for right now, along with Bruno Ribeiro, hoping things dry soon so we can have a nice race here this afternoon on this Father's Day weekend here live on Speed Sport 1.
Yes. Hon, the weather tech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race-proven and street-legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
And as you can see, the rain is still falling, hitting the puddles all around the racetrack. And there, as you see, as we were talking about earlier, here on pit lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the pit wall closest to the racetrack, that side of pit lane, Von Diesley, is pretty wet, pretty good-sized puddles the entire length of pit road there. Apparently the tee boxes are good and dry over on the golf course over there at Brickyard Crossing.
Oh yeah, that's one of the huge things about the Motor Speedway that I think it's so unique is that we literally have a golf course here. I have a buddy who goes to Speedway High School and he comes down to the track almost every single day playing golf out here. So it's just something so unique about this place.
A good look at the Circle City off in the distance where they are pacer crazy right now.
Oh yeah.
This city is just on fire with that. And of course, it's Father's Day weekend. We hope all the dads out there are having a great weekend, enjoying racing or whatever it is you're doing with your families. And we had a chance to talk to some of our drivers about how important their dads are to them.
All right, hey, I'm here Father's Day, and this is a very special Father's Day for Barron Racing and Elliott Barron with his two sons, Hunter and Eo, who are also here. But I met you here at Indy. I don't know if you remember this, probably 8-10 years ago. You were climbing the fence. Do you remember that? And I know that this place is so special for you. So to be here, I have footage of you winning here at Indy. This has got to be so special.
This is the most special track in the world, you know, and being here on Father's Day weekend, I couldn't ask for more. And, you know, back in the day, it was my father and me and them here. So I got to share it with him, and now I get to share it with these boys. Of course, they're not as nice. They beat me here now.
Well, look at how far away they're standing. Come on, guys, get a little closer.
I used to beat these boys, and now they're beating me. They don't respect me anymore.
And then just judging by his shirt, I can see that he's got probably many, many miles in the Mario Kart sim. And these Formula Vs, these aren't too far away from Mario Kart.
No, not really. They're really low to the ground. There's pretty much nothing around you. You have no grip. You slide around a bunch. And every now and then somebody throws something at you and makes you spin. So it's pretty much exactly like Mario Kart.
And then, Hunter, I know that you've been running here, and I've got you and your dad, like, flipping for the lead like 4 times a lap in years past. So what's it like to be running here with your dad on Father's Day?
Well, we've been doing it for, 8 years now? But yeah, that video of me and him going back and forth is still one of my favorite videos. It's just an honor. It's so much fun being here at Indy and doing that.
Now, we would be remiss, though, if we don't talk about Jim, because it's so cool to have, his car was with us, and NOLA, I forget who was driving it, but he kind of started it all. But then also Doug Bowles has been in here with you. I think his son was with you, so it goes a long way.
Carter has driven our car several times, and Doug was pitted in here with us a couple of years running a Formula Ford with Jay Creech. But that's really an honor that we've become friends through the years and keep up with each other and have been able to race with each other. And truly it's an honor, Ben. Getting to run here, people that don't get it just don't get it. There's no place more special to race a car than Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you were talking about Dad's car. That's the last car my dad ever raced, and we keep running it in his honor.
Because that's the way he would want it.
Yeah, he's still here with us.
I love it. Now, we talk about these Formula Vs, and I hope you don't take offense, because this is probably the slowest class we're going to see here all weekend, but I promise you they're having more fun than anybody else out there. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. We may be the slowest open-wheel class, but we put on a better race. We put on a show. We have more passing, more lead changes, and we've run with each other enough that we'll run inches apart sideways in the corners.
I love it. I will say that watching these races, usually the Formula V races here on this weekend are even more fun to watch than the Indy 500. What would you say to that, EO?
Well, considering the fact that every race ends with a winning difference of less than 10 hundredths of a second half the time, it's pretty exciting every time. So.
Now, Hunter, last thing, how would you describe, because I know that we're running in 3 different Formula V classes, but how would you describe this Formula V to people that aren't quite familiar with it?
How would I describe Formula V to people? We're a different breed. I think it's all about the community here. I mean, everybody just wants each other to get out there and have fun, and I think that's what we're all about.
And they will work. I've seen this. They will work through the night to help put a new engine in a competitor just to have that person out on the grid, and they want to beat everybody out there on the track under the same equipment. So they'll work through the night and not sleep putting engines or driver parts in these cars, but that's what this community is all about, isn't it?
Or rebuilding wrecked cars. We've done that here a few times, and yeah, we want to beat them on the track, not in the pits. And the community is the biggest thing with Formula V. We've all become such close friends, and we try to get together to go to certain events, and it just makes it a lot more fun.
Well, you've brought a full field here. Father's Day weekend. Are you guys going to give Father anything this weekend, or is it once the green flag drops?
No, Ben, and he'll be in an FV1, which is the true vintage. I'll be in an FV2, which is a true vintage. It breaks the rules a little bit. And he'll be in an FV3, which is one of the more modern, but it's still a vintage car. Legally in the years, it's still a vintage car. So we'll all be out there racing together. We'll be all 3 this time. We'll be in different classes.
I love it. Well, that Father's Day weekend here at Indy, the Brickyard Vintage Racing Invitational. This is going to be a really fun weekend, so stay tuned.
It is going to be a great weekend, but a soggy one at that, as the rain, Vaughn, has just picked up again. In fact, I think it's coming down as hard as it has yet today. The drivers are all in their cars. The wet weather tires are on. The adjustments have all been made, and I think I actually hear a few engines running out there.
Yep, sounds like the engines are fired. It'll be, the track's going to be changing so quick. With all those rain coming down, even 2 minutes ago, the track's completely different than it is now. So it's be super interesting. I can't put any predictions on this race, to be honest. It'd be really tricky to see.
Yeah, and as we heard earlier, I guess it was Jet Bowling we were talking to, experience is going to be a big key.
100%. To be honest with you, if I had to choose anyone in this race, it might be Jet. And the reason being for that is he was one of the few drivers that ran this race last year. I was in the drivers meeting room today, and Mr. Scott Goodyear asked, raise our hands, how many people ran this event last year? And only 4 of the drivers raised their hands. And Jet was one of those drivers, I'm pretty sure. So, or he was. So the one thing is Jet is he has experience with this track. He's experienced with his car. Granted, the rain kind of threw everything out the window, but then again, at least having some experience with his car will pay dividends in those races.
And let's face it, it's an intimidating place to come, not necessarily because of the track layout or anything about it that way, but the aura of the facility, what it means to be here, to be racing on the circuit here. There's a lot of buildup.
Oh, 100%. The amount of pressure, the amount of time, hours, all the crew members and the family putting countless hours and thousands of dollars to get out here to race. I mean, that's just going to have pressure regardless of where you're at. But then again, also at the IMS, it's amazing.
Hey, look at that. Cars rolling off here. This is a standing start race. Traditionally, we're waiting to see what they're doing with the cars. If the cars are going to head out onto the racetrack or to the paddock. That would be to the discretion of race director Scott Goodyear.
Yep, looks like they're heading back to the paddock.
Yeah, it sure does, which is not what anybody wanted to see, and I'm sure that was a gut-wrenching decision by Scott to do that.
I think it's 100% the right direction, though.
I will tell you, you know, the thing about Scott Goodyear, not only was he a great race car driver, of course, he's a big part of the lore of here at the Indianapolis 500, but he is a very sharp race director in the fact of always, and I mean always, putting driver safety first. And you can't emphasize that enough in the position that he's in. I know you think, you know, the average fan would assume, well, of course he does. Well, no. You can see the difference between guys who think about it and guys who really live it, and Scott does that.
100%. I mean, Scott's one of the most down-to-earth guys I've been in the industry. Well, also, all his experience with racing, too, pays dividends for then his role as a race director. I mean, just the decisions he makes, the amount he also listens to the drivers, too, in the situations really demonstrates his understanding of the sport and his value of the series.
So we are being told there is confirmation the race for today, the conditions just too much, and unfortunately our race here this afternoon has been canceled for our Formula Regional Americas Championship. However, Vaughn, this is just race 1 for them. They're scheduled to have 2 more tomorrow.
Yep.
So the weekend is not all lost.
Not by any means, yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I do think it's 100% the right direction not to run this race. I mean, looking out the window here in the booth, the rain's getting even worse over this past 30 seconds. So I think it's 100% the right decision not to run today in order to save the cars, save the drivers. This is the right decision, you know. So it'll be interesting to see tomorrow what the conditions are like and if we're able to go green tomorrow.
Saving a lot of budget because you don't want to be tearing stuff up.
100%, yeah.
I know I'm not going anywhere because I don't have a rain jacket with me right now, so I'm waiting for this to stop. Might be right here until tomorrow. Let's take a look at the race schedule for the rest of the season. We kicked everything off back at NOLA in March. And wait to get that back up on the screen here for you. There we go. Then it was off to Road America. We'll be at Mid-Ohio coming up next weekend. Really looking forward to that. And then it's on to New Jersey Motorsports Park, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Virginia International Raceway, and then wrapping up the season at Barber Motorsports Park. What do you like about the calendar for the championships, all 3 of them?
I mean, just the diversity of the tracks that the series go to is unlike anything else. I mean, going to Canada, the amount of different tracks we go to and different types of tracks we go to in the States. I mean, there's just barely any series even rival this. I mean, just an amazing, amazing series in the calendar too. I mean, just the, like I said before, the amount of tracks we go to and just the quality these tracks do.
And if you're a team owner or a team manager of a bigger level team, you're looking at that schedule and you're going, okay, if my guy can be good at those tracks, he can be good anywhere.
No, 100%. That's one of the things with NOLA too. Is NOLA's such a unique track with all the bumps and such out there. So if you can survive and do well at a track that's so uncharacteristic for a normal racetrack, you can take those skills anywhere you like.
Well, unfortunately, the racing for today is a complete washout for the Formula Regional Americas live here on Speed Sport 1. Nothing we can do about that. Checkered flag and the top of the pylon goes to Mother Nature here this afternoon. For Vaughn Beasley, I'm Ralph Shaheen. Thanks for tuning in with us live here on Speed Sport 1. We'll be back for more this weekend, live on Speed Sport 1 from the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So long for now.
you're up against the wall and you cannot